Hi everyone, this is Ariel and I hope that you're having a good day. I want to talk about body dysmorphia today because I've been seeing a lot of posts online on Instagram and TikTok where people are sharing that they're experiencing body dysmorphia, and they're posting maybe a selfie or a little video of themselves. And I wanted to share my own experience with it and my recovery process, which has been very long because at a certain point I almost let those thoughts take over completely. I had an eating disorder for over 10 years. It was pretty bad, and I feel very lucky to be here, honestly. So I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty details of everything that I went through, but let me just say that I get it. Okay. And it took me a very long time to, I guess, let me say this. At one point, I really thought that I would never be able to see myself differently. If somebody says something to you enough times about yourself and you are, a young child or a preteen, teen, etc., somebody close to you, a caregiver, is speaking these things to you, it's going to make sense that you absorb them. And so, these thoughts could have come from a family member. They could have come from our society. I mean, it's pretty obvious the way that our society views and speaks on women's appearances. So it could have come from a number of places, but let me just say this. The idea that you have about your body being wrong or imperfect or this or that, it came from somewhere else. It is not true, and it is someone else's view of you that needs fixing. You don't need fixing. That's somebody else's view of you that needs fixing, that somehow entered your mind, got stuck there, and then it became your own. So that's number one. And it took me a very long time to separate my thoughts from the thoughts of, in my experience, my mother and some other people growing up that really, really influenced the way that I saw myself. Okay, so that's the first seed I want to plant, is that you have to start separating those thoughts from your own and recognizing them for what they are, which is lies. I'm just going to be honest, okay? Now let me take that a step further and say, if at any point, you are unhealthy, let's just say that. For example, I've had many times in my life where my skin and hair has showed signs of poor health. My weight has showed signs of poor health on both ends of the spectrum. Okay? Those are just, it's kind of like your body is talking to you. Those are just signals that something's out of balance and it needs to be restored for you to get to a place of health and wellness and vibrancy. It does not mean that you are bad, wrong, that you should feel ashamed about the way that you look, or anything like that, anything that I know you are experiencing, because like I said, I've been through it myself. It's just information. So if you find yourself out of balance, you can lovingly bring yourself back to a place that is healthier and that shows, like I said, your best health, your best immunity, your best energy, your best strength, okay? So that's the first point. The second point that I want to make when it comes to body dysmorphia, and this took me a very long time to understand and sort of actualize in my life. So I just want to plant the seed today. It is not an overnight cure. All of this is not an overnight cure. In my opinion, the mindset that I inherited, I'm going to say that one more time. The mindset that I inherited took a long time to unlearn and replace with a new one. So it took me a very long time to understand and start acting in a way that reflected this belief. My appearance does not determine my value. My appearance does not determine my value. Now, again, growing up, for whatever reason, this was a message that was very clear to me. If I looked a certain way and I looked pretty according to the people, whose opinions were loudest in my home, then I was going to be successful. And that's why people would like me. That's why people would treat me a certain way. And, everything was just going to be better for me if I met those beauty standards. It was so strong that, again, for a long time, I just assumed that every time I met someone or I was out, that people were evaluating my appearance, because that's what I experienced at home. Okay, so reflect, a little bit on your own and think about whether that was your experience as well. In my recovery, I've learned that my value is completely separate from my appearance. It has more to do with how I can impact another person's life and how I can help someone. So for me, moving to a place where I focused on being of service to others really, really helped me in my recovery. That has been one of the biggest lessons and blessings in my life, was to shift from a place of feeling very self-conscious and believing that my appearance would determine, the amount of success that I could achieve or how people would treat me, to understanding and learning that no matter what I looked like when I showed up, what I said, how I treated people, and what I did mattered way more, again, than what I looked like when I arrived. So I encourage you, if you're finding yourself really focusing on those thoughts, to get into acts of service that bring you a positive response from someone or something else. It doesn't have to be a person. I mean, you could be doing something else. And that will help you start to build your identity separate from your appearance. And that's another lesson I could talk forever on. That my identity has now become separate from my appearance. For me, my identity is built around teaching and how much I can, impact another person or a group of students in a positive way. That makes me feel really happy and confident and at ease with myself, versus what I used to think, which was, I've got to look a certain way in order for people to treat me a certain way, this or that. So again, I encourage you to focus on acts of service if you are feeling really kind of bombarded by those thoughts. It is definitely a useful antidote if you are experiencing some pretty serious body dysmorphia right now. So that's what I want to share for today, and I definitely want to speak more on it because it's close to my heart, and I don't want to see anyone go through that. You are so much more than what you look like on a particular day or in a particular photo, a moment in time. It's about unlearning those thoughts and patterns and replacing it with real, authentic self-esteem, self-knowledge, and self-worth that is not based on your appearance. That is what worked for me in my recovery. You don't have to feel this way. You don't have to think this way. There is another option. So I hope that you have a good rest of your day, and let me know if you need anything. I will talk to you soon.